Today's topic is about adoption, mainly on adoption. Uh, it is structured in such a manner that in the today's lecture, we will be dealing about Hindu adoptions as per the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. And this session will spill over to another session about adoption, in-country adoption, inter-country adoption, touching upon the CARA guidelines under the Juvenile Justice Act. Today's topic will be centered, it will be centric to Hindu Adoption Act, that is Adoption and Maintenance Act, particularly on adoption. It is essential to know about this act before we venture into CARA guidelines in the next stage of our lecture. So, the priority is given to the old act, that is 1956 Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. We will know about the essentials of adoption, how an adoption can be made, what is the process, the competency of the parties to take in adoption, to give in adoption, and who are all can be taken in adoption. We will also see, is there any other condition related to this adoption? And this act mainly centers around Hindu adoption. That is, a Hindu can be adopted, he can be given in adoption and taken in adoption. So this is coming under personal law. I will also tell, in case of adoption by Christians or Muslims, what is the law available? The general law is Guardians and Wards Act. So, because those particular law, that is Christian laws and Muslim laws, does not recognize adoption. In that case, if the parents wish to take any child, a child in adoption, had to follow the process of Guardians and Wards Act. Now it is Juvenile Justice Act. It has multiple or a variety of positions or process to be followed during adoption that we will touch upon later. So with this prelude, I will go into the act. This act contains 28 sections in which we will concentrate for the present only with respect to sections 1 to 17. This act contains only 3 chapters, of which adoption alone is dealt under two chapters. We will go through these chapters. Of course, we will touch upon the other chapter as to what is the right of the maintenance of the adopted child and other rights, any charge created in the property, etc. That we will go into it. This session will be 1 hour session, and another 45 minutes is left for me to go through the session. So let us go into that. Now, this act in 1956, 3 acts came one after the other, so far as Hindu personal law is concerned. The first act is Hindu Marriage Act 1955. That was promulgated on 18/5/1955. The second coming was Hindu Succession Act 1956, Act 30 of 1956. It came into force on 17/6/1956. That is almost 1 year later, the Hindu Marriage Act. Then, within 2 months, it has become necessary to bring out another act called Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act. That came into force on 25/8/1956. That is marriage, succession, children, that is minority and guardians. Then an extension, not own children, but a children biologically belonging to other, but coming and taking up the environment of a new parent. That is adoption. Adoption and Maintenance Act, again in 1956. End of the year, it came into force on 21/12/1956. That is Act 78 of 1956. So in 1955 and 1956, 4 acts have come one after the other, one for marriage, and another one for succession, and another one for minority and guardians, and another one is an extension with respect to adoption and maintenance. Whatever it was left out on those previous 3 acts was covered up in the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. Now, what is the purpose of bringing out this 4th act? That is, purpose of this Maintenance and Adoption and Maintenance Act. See, Hindu law is a codified law. We had our own customs like marriage, how the property devolved, everything. We had our own custom, but it was not on a law. So it was codified, and Hindu law was called a codified law. Now, the purpose of this act is to codify or amend the law relating to adoption and maintenance among Hindus. That is, law relating to adoption and maintenance among Hindus. That is, this particular act only revolves on Hindu. That is a personal law of the Hindu. Now, what is the purpose? This law brought in different changes, various changes. Hindu Succession Act brought in a major change. It treated boy and girl equal. Before the act came into force, they were not treated equal. Once the Succession Act came into force, boys and girls were treated equally. And this extension law, that is adoption law, provides for adoption of boys as well as girls. A parent can take in adoption a boy or a girl. It is not restricted to boy alone. So the purpose of the Succession Act was to treat son and daughter equally. So also in respect of adoptions. So it gives a status, equality in status. Before 1956, it was not like that. After 1956, that is after the codified law, the status of both gender became equal. Formally, before the act came into force, woman can adopt only for her husband. That was the prevailing law once. But the purpose of this act is the woman can adopt for herself and for her husband. We will go through the meaning of this little later. She can adopt for herself and for her husband. So husband cannot prevent wife to take adoption after his death. See, now we have to relate it to Section 7 and Section 8 of the Adoption Act. Section 7 says a male can adopt. Section 8, similar section, a female can adopt. You can interchange the word depending upon the concerned provision. A female can adopt. But both must have to give consent. Only with the consent of each other they can adopt. But the husband cannot impose a condition that after his death, his wife should not adopt. That is the purpose of this act. An enlargement of the right has been given to a woman to adopt after the death of the husband. It was there in the previous act, she can always adopt. This act makes it very, very clear that that embargo, if at all it was there, that is taken away, that is removed. Which means a Hindu widow adopts in her own right. She takes an adoption in her own right. So one case law that I can give is AIR 1967 Supreme Court. AIR 1967 Supreme Court 1760. What this case says? A widow can adopt for herself and for her dead husband. A widow can adopt for herself and for her dead husband if the husband has renounced the world or if not of sound mind. So a person living, fine, but person living without any use, a person is of not sound mind. He has renounced the world. He is living, but he is not within the family. In that case, a woman, a widow, or a woman who is in such situation is entitled to adopt. And if he is not of sound mind, if he has renounced the world, and in case of a widow, after his death, that is AIR 1967, Supreme Court 1761. Another point we have to see is what happens on adoption. What happens on adoption? Whether the property right which was crystallized earlier, will it get disturbed because of this adoption? The Act says no. No person will be divested of his property rights which he has before adoption. Section 12 of the Act. So, ஒருத்தருடைய ஏற்கனவே ஒருத்தருக்கு ப்ராப்பர்ட்டியில ரைட் இருந்தால் this adoption, நடுவுல ஏற்பட்டக்கூடிய adoption will not disturb their previous right. So இந்த aspects எல்லாத்தையும் ஒரு சேர பார்க்கிறது தான் இந்த ஆக்ட், ஹிந்து அடாப்ஷன் மெயின்டெனன்ஸ் ஆக்ட். இந்த ஆக்ட் யாராருக்கெல்லாம் அப்ளை ஆகும்? As I said, the preamble of the act, நம்ம objects and reasons பார்க்கும்போது we saw to codify the law for Hindus. So therefore, the act applies to Hindus alone. Who are all Hindus? We will see this. A Hindu in any form. A Hindu in any form. எப்படி இருந்தாலும், if he practices Hinduism, then he is a Hindu. This is the primary point. We will go into the subsecting point. அதாவது சில பேர், சில சமூகம் அவங்களே ஒரு ரிலீஜனாக கருதப்படுகின்றனர். எப்படி? பிரம்ம சமாஜ், ஆரிய சமாஜ், வீரசைவர்கள், லிங்காயட்ஸ். They call themselves, they want a recognition to be their own religion. Even then, they come under one umbrella of Hinduism. Take the case of Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism. All come under the one umbrella of Hinduism. Only one exception is a person should not be a Hindu, should not be a Muslim or a Christian or a Parsi or a Jew. They are not covered under this Hindu law, this adoption, Hindu adoption and maintenance. So, இவர்களை தவிர Hindu என்ற போர்வைக்குள் வருபவர்கள் அனைவருமே they will come under this act. Now, we should also see the legitimacy of the child. In the previous situation, that is before the enactment of this law, illegitimate people were excluded. Now, following our Hindus, any child, legitimate or illegitimate, both whose parents are Hindu, then this child is a Hindu. Sorry. If one of the parents is a Hindu, then he is a Hindu, whether legitimate or illegitimate. Okay, it is by birth. Now, if a child is brought up as a Hindu, whether legitimate or illegitimate, then he is a Hindu. Take the case of an abandoned child. Particularly in COVID times, day in and day out, if we read papers, it is mostly Bangalore centric. நிறைய பெங்களூர் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ல ரோட்ல ஒரு குழந்தைய வந்து ஒரு luckily many has seen the child and missed it, and one police officer was given a complaint, and one police woman took the child and took her to hospital. இந்த நியூஸ் வந்து நிறைய வருது. தட் இஸ் ரெண்டு பேரண்ட்ஸுமே இறந்து போயிடுறாங்க. This child is now abandoned. how it is brought up. If it is brought up as a Hindu, then that particular child can be adopted under this act by a relative. So நிறைய நியூஸ் சைல்டு டிராஃபிக்கிங் இதை வச்சு நிறைய பேர் வித்துறாங்க சைல்டை. ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ஸ்ல கோவிட் சிச்சுவேஷன்ல ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ஸ்ல they abandon the child there, or these nurses or some other hospital people, they sell the child. All these things are happening now, and this has been the news items very recently. And convert and reconvert to Hinduism. If it is reconverted to a Hindu, then he will come under this act. Now, this particular section 2 can be related to section 3 of Hindu Minority and Guardians Act. மைனர்ங்கிறத நம்ம பார்க்கும்போது இதே மாதிரி டெஃபினிஷன் Hindu Minorities and Guardians Actல வரும். I am taking this opportunity to relate it with those similar provisions so that it will be very easy and useful for us to understand the applicability of the act. Now, when we go into who is a child, Hindu Minorities and Guardians Act நம்ம பார்த்தோம்னா மைனர்னா யாருன்னு பார்த்தோம். That is less than 18 years. In case of a minor with the natural guardian. If he is appointed, a guardian is appointed, then மைனர்ங்கிற வார்த்தை வந்து 21 வயசு வரைக்கும் போகும். 18 in case of natural, 21 in case of person appointed under who is coming under the guardians. Now, similar section 3 under the 3 of the Hindu Minorities and Guardianship Act. Now, if you in the act like Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act, like they don't term minor, they call a child. They call it a child. The child in the vartha vande, it is not defined in the act. But child na yaar? Who is a child? அதாவது குழந்தை தான் சைல்டா இல்ல ஒரு வளர்ந்த மனிதரே சைல்டா? We have to relate it to the situation. இப்போ ஒரு தாத்தா இருக்காரு, என் குழந்தைகள்னு 4 பசங்களை சொல்லலாம், அவங்க 50 வயசு இருக்கலாம். In a general parlance, child means even the grown up persons. Adoption பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் சைல்டுனா யாரு அப்படிங்கறத நம்ம பார்ப்போம். So child ஒரு செக்ஷன்ல they say it is less than 15. But if you want to adopt a person above 15, then there should have a custom for it. So generally in the ஒரு கேஸ்ல it will be very useful to refer a person as a child, even a grown up person as a child. இப்ப வில் எழுதுறாரு, என் குழந்தைகளுக்கு எல்லாம் இந்த சொத்து போகட்டும், ஈக்குவலா போகட்டும், இல்ல என்னுடைய முதல் குழந்தைக்கு இப்படி போகட்டும், என்னுடைய இரண்டாவது குழந்தைக்கு இப்படி சைல்டுன்னு சொல்றாரு. It means even the grown up person. AIR 1970 Supreme Court. AIR 1970 Supreme Court 446. 1970 Supreme Court 446. Nanak Chand versus Chandra Kishore Agarwal. Nanak Chand versus Chandra Kishore Agarwal. Idhula, what they say, if it is made with reference to parents, then it means descendants of first degree. A son or a daughter, descendants of first degree. Another குழந்தைகள் அப்படின்னா it means descendants of first degree. So குழந்தைகள் generally சொல்லலாம். And has no reference to age. This is the observation made under the judgment. Now, we will go into the definitions. Section 3 definitions. Definitions 3 தான் கொடுக்குறாங்க. ஒன்னு கஸ்டம்ஸ் அண்ட் யூசேஜ்னா என்னன்னு சொல்றாங்க, மெயின்டெனன்ஸ்னா என்னன்னு சொல்றாங்க, மைனர்னா யாருன்னு சொல்றாங்க. This is what this particular Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act carry only these 3 definitions. Customs and usage, அதாவது வழக்குகளும் சம்பிரதாயங்களும். Customs and usage, section 3A. இதை எங்க ரிலேட் பண்ணி இதே ஆக்ட்ல படிக்கணும்னா செக்ஷன் 10 சேர்த்து இந்த செக்ஷன் 3யும் செக்ஷன் 10ஐயும் ஒன்னா நம்ம படிக்கணும். அதை நம்ம அங்க வரும்போது நம்ம படிக்கணும். அதாவது ஒரு grown up person, அதாவது சைல்டு இல்லாம நல்லா வளர்ந்தவர், கல்யாணம் ஆகி செட்டில் ஆனவர், இவரை அடாப்ட் பண்ண முடியுமா? So now we have to see about customs and usage as mentioned in section 10. Section 10க்கு வரும்போது section 3ஐயும் நம்ம ரிலேட் பண்ணி பார்ப்போம். We will see it together. See, even if I talk in Tamil, I am very conscious that I will make the same statement in English. just to help those who may not understand the Tamil. If suppose that will be only a negligible group, so I am very careful. So need not worry that I am bilingual. So I'll now proceed further. For example, whether a person above 15 years can be adopted, whether a person who is married can be adopted. We will go into section 10, touching upon section 3 now. Now, minor. It is a generally known fact that minor is a person who has not completed 18 years. So with this, we will go into the main sections. In the act, as any other act will contain overriding provisions, section 4. This is similar to section 5 of Hindu maintenance, minorities and guardians. Rendu similar. That is overriding section. Adayum namba section 10 oda link panni paapom. That is one aspect now. Why I am saying about customism? I wish to give you a case law. After the commencement of this act, that is from December of 1956 onwards, a child, Hindu child, can be adopted only as mentioned in this act. Unless it is proved. A child cannot be adopted in customary form. Once adopted, it cannot be cancelled or revoked in any customary form. அந்த எங்க வழக்கப்படி எடுத்துக்கிட்டோம், ஒரு 2 வருஷத்துக்கு அப்புறம் எங்க வழக்கப்படி கொடுத்துட்டோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. That is, you can take it, keep a boy or a girl and then abandon it after 2 years. That is not possible. AIR 1975 Supreme Court. AIR 1975 Supreme Court 784. Now, so what it says that there is no room for customary adoption. Now, we will go to 5. Simple, this act says, this section says, adoption to be regulated by this chapter. Now, it is second chapter. As I said earlier, adoption it deals only 2 chapters. It is dealt only under 2 chapters of this act, chapter 1 and chapter 2. Chapter 2, adoption is regulated under this chapter. That is, after the commencement of this act, adoption can be made only as mentioned in this act. That is section 5 to 70. Else what happens? If it is not made under this provision 9, what happens? Adoption becomes void, whoever it is. He is as if he is not at all adopted. As if he is not adopted at all. Now, what will happen? Suppose we adopt, we take in adoption. If it is adoption is void, any right conferred under the property or any profit given to him becomes void. It becomes invalid. So as good as no adoption. அவரை தத்து எடுக்காத மாதிரியாகவே கருதப்படும் if the adoption fails. That is section 5. It should be regulated under this chapter. AIR 2005. AIR 2005, Supreme Court 4362. AIR 2005, Supreme Court 4362. Pentakota Satyanarayana case. Now, ஒரு 4 section நம்ம மெயினா பார்க்கணும். 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another section is 11. இந்த 5-6 section நம்ம பார்த்தோம்னா adoptionோட procedure முடிஞ்சது. Now, adoptionங்கிறது எப்படி இருக்கும்? இந்த section 6லயே 4 section உள்ள கொடுத்துறாங்க. Section 6 contains 4 sections in it. 7, 8, 9 and 10. And also 11, sorry. So 5 sections in it. When we read section 6, we will be able to additionally read or read in elaborately 5 other sections. What is that? It says requisites of a valid adoption. That is, no adoption is valid unless certain conditions are fulfilled. Adoption becomes invalid unless certain conditions are fulfilled. In a condition, simple. The act is very, very simple. One person should have the capacity and the right to take in adoption. Or capacity or adoption. Section 7 and 8, we will go into it later. Person giving must have the capacity. Person giving must have the capacity. Person adopted. That is, a child must have that certain eligibility. And if there are certain conditions, it should be followed. Adavadu, taking in adoption, section 6 person taking in adoption. Adala number 7 and 8 male taking in adoption, female taking in adoption. So 7 and 8 cover. We are covering that. Now, person giving, kudukaravar, must have the capacity. Now section 9. Person giving must have the capacity. Person adopted, the child. Section 10, we must have to follow the conditions mentioned under section 10. And any other condition left out or brought in under section 11. So, 4-5 criteria, if we follow, then we could fulfill the requisites of a valid adoption. Now, section 7, capacity, that is taking in adoption. Section 6 first limb, taking in adoption. Capacity of a male Hindu to take in adoption. A male Hindu taking in adoption. Yes, he has that capacity. Old law, but in the codified law, a male Hindu can take in adoption only with the consent of wife. Simple. Other factors in capacity, competency, as how we have seen it in Contract Act. He must not be of a sound mind. He must not be a minor. A minor cannot take adoption. He must be of a sound mind. That is, he must know what he is doing, because property right follows. Devolution comes into play. Succession intrudes. All these factors have to be taken into account. So he has the capacity to take a son or a daughter, a boy or a girl in adoption, as per this act. Both the choices are available. To his liking, he can take it. Provided a condition, section 6(7) gives point number 1, a male Hindu can take an adoption. He can adopt both son or a daughter, that is a boy or a girl, but condition provided. What is the condition? He can take an adoption only with the consent of his wife. He can take an adoption only with the consent of his wife. Unless, exception, when available, exception. She has renounced the world. Renounced the world. Left him. Ceases to be a Hindu. That is, if she is converted. She has embraced another religion. Ceases to be a Hindu. Or if she is declared by any court of unsound mind. He cannot himself claim. So unsoundness of mind has to be declared by the court. That is the Mental Health Act. We have to relate it to that. The provisions comprised in that act. How we have to get the certificate of the doctor, go before the court of law, get it declared. Only then the male Hindu is entitled to take an adoption by himself. So section 7 or ingredients for the a male Hindu can take an adoption, a boy or a girl, provided only with the consent of his wife. If the consent of the wife is not required, when she renounces the world, ceases to be a Hindu, or if she is declared by court that she is of unsound mind. This is the thing. Similar section 7, but it's not section 8 same. Just a replica. Male situation, female position, it is almost the same. But certain additions are given, we will see how. They say, see, you must also have to take in mind that this act came into force in 1956. 1956, munnadi, bigamy polygamy were recognized. What will happen immediately after this 1956 Act came into force? If there are many wives, then see, we need not go into this much in detail because the position is diluted now. Practically, the Hindu Marriage Act curtails bigamy, and all other acts also does not recognize second marriage. But in those times, just I will touch upon and I will go to further because it may not have much relevance now. If he has many wives, then consent of all is required. The senior wife can adopt. This case law may be of some help to have a reference with respect to some specific cases. I will just tell you AIR 2001 Supreme Court, AIR 2001 Supreme Court, 1424, AIR 2001 Supreme Court 1424. Just to, since advocates are also are in the session, it may help them to cite this case law for any relevant case. That is Vijayalakshmi Amma versus B.T. Shankar. Senior wife can adopt without consent of junior widow. Even though it is stated that consent of all wife, senior wife can adopt without the consent of junior widow. Act does not compel consent. Adoption is deemed to be not only for her, but for her husband, that is deceased husband. Adhan number objects and reasons of adoption is deemed to be not only for her, but for husband also. So, let us go into some recent case law. That is AIR 2008. AIR 2008 Supreme Court. AIR 2008 Supreme Court. 1056, 1056, 1056. Brijendra Singh versus State of Madhya Pradesh. Brijendra Singh versus State of Madhya Pradesh. See, if a Hindu male adopts, consent of wife is necessary before adoption. Consent of wife is necessary before adoption and not subsequently. If she does not have, if she had not given consent, then it becomes void. Section 5, the regulation under the chapter, if it becomes void, then you are relegated to the original position. He becomes some other person and not an adopted son. So, a Hindu woman, now we have to also see this. A Hindu woman cannot adopt without the consent of her husband. That we will see it under section 8. So, this case law refers to these details. Now, when we go into the capacity of a female Hindu to take in adoption, capacity of a female Hindu to take in adoption, same as section 7. Now, what we have to see is, with effect from 31/8/2010, the female, the word female has a larger meaning. It includes unmarried female, or a female whose marriage is dissolved, or whose husband is dead, or has renounced the world, or has ceased to be a Hindu, or of unsound mind, same thing. நம்ம பார்த்தது எக்ஸப்ஷன் இதுல எக்ஸ்பிளனேஷன் நம்ம பார்த்தது என்ன? Must have been dead. That is, the partner is dead. The partner has renounced the world, or he has embraced some other religion, or he has become, or he is of an unsound mind, declared by the court. Section 8. So, section 7 adhoda replication, section 8. One thing we have to see is unmarried female. See, today, what happens is living relationship concept has come into force. They get child. And later, there is a separation, and the man or a woman gets married later, a recognized form of marriage. In that case, the other partner accepts the child. What is the position? That we will go in now little later. What he will become the stepfather or the stepmother. Even the 1956 Act has given the provision for that. Now, section 6 la பார்த்தோம், 7, 8 நம்ம உள்ள அடக்கிய section 9, அதாவது person capable of giving in adoption. கொடுக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு எபிலிட்டி இருக்கும், எடுத்துக்கிறதுக்கு எபிலிட்டி இருக்கு. Male or female can take in adoption under certain situations. Giving in adoption, ஒருத்தருக்கு கொடுக்கக்கூடிய கெப்பாசிட்டி இருக்கும். என்ன கெப்பாசிட்டி? That is, mother and father to be living. In case of one is not available, the other one can. Guardian 9-4. So if a COVID situation, both the parents are dead. Anadhiya poidranga, orphans are poidranga. Suppose caretaker or a guardian can give in adoption, but provided he has to have to go through the process of court, because we will now see guardians and what's that. Guardians and what's that? Guardian is appointed for under a will or through court. Suppose in that situation, a guardian could have been appointed under court. In that case, guardian deals with the property. Again, Hindu Minorities and Guardians Act will come into play. Section 8, Section 9, if it is for natural guardians, if it is for testamentary guardian, Section 9. Here, 9-4 says, guardian giving or taking adoption of a child. He can take COVID situation. He can approach the court, say that I can be permitted to be that he is entitled to approach the court under Section 9-4 subsection. So, given adoption, he can give it. Section 9-5. Section 9-5 gives guidance for the court. That is, court shall grant permission considering the welfare of the child. Kulandayin nalam karudi, court can grant permission. Eppadi court sees the wishes of the child. Paramount consideration. Minorities and Guardians Act Section 13. Paramount consideration of the child will be seen. Age and understanding power of the child will be seen. The court will take into consideration. The court will also see that any other person does not take any advantage of this situation. Child trafficking, the court will see this. Now, father and mother acts as a natural guardian, right? What is the position of the adoptive father and mother? They will be called adoptive father and adoptive mother. See, they will not be called a natural biological parents. They will be called an adoptive father and adoptive mother, because foregoing section says adopted child cannot be given in adoption. Adopted child cannot be given in adoption. Now, this section also says about court. The explanation is court because guardian wants to take in adoption. Court means city civil court, district court, jurisdiction where the child resides. So, this will also include abandoned children. That is, founding homes. It will cover. Now, section 10. Conditions to be fulfilled. Persons who may be adopted. Section 6 easy. A boy or girl can be adopted. That is, they are not adopted already. And the section 9-5 explanation. Parents means here they are not adopted parents, adoptive parents. Their father and mother does not include adoptive father and adoptive mother. So there cannot be an adoption. The person cannot be an already adopted person cannot be adopted again. Okay. So here another factor. Boy or girl should not have been married. Boy or a girl to be taken in adoption should be less than 15 years. This is what I said. We have to relate it to section 3 and 4. If the custom permits, then Kalyana Manavargalai kuda adopt pannalam. If the custom permits, then a person above 15 years of age can also be adopted. If suppose the custom could not be proved, then the adoption becomes void. Section 5 again we will go and we will say that Section 5 says that the adoption, if it is not recognized under the Act, it becomes void. Again, void. So, custom is considered to be a law, it need not be proved. That is, long follow. Then custom, if we can prove it, then it is fine. Again, one aspect minor, if unsound mind adopt but lunatic adoption. In fact, news recent news foreign country disabled children Indians, they do not take in adoption. Indians prefer healthy children, whereas foreigners, they take in adoption, that is through CARA guidelines. They take children suffering from certain type of disabilities, they take in adoption. Now, other conditions, Section 6, if you have the BARAC, 5 conditions, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's 9 giving in adoption. Then the person or a capacity of that person to be adopted. And 11 other conditions. And other conditions, our son, that is, if a son is to be adopted, then he should not have a son or a son's son, that is grandson, or a great grandson at the time of adoption. At the time of adoption, he must not have them. If a daughter is to be adopted, then he should not have, he or she should not have already a daughter or a son's daughter, either by blood or by adoption. If adoption is to be made by a male who is adopting a female, or on, or if a male is taking in adoption a female, then the age difference must be at least 21. That is, father should be older than by 21 years. The same thing, vice versa. If a female is taking a male in adoption, then the age gap should be 21 years. These are conditions. 2 other conditions. 2 parents cannot adopt simultaneously. They cannot adopt simultaneously. They have to jointly adopt. They cannot simultaneously adopt 2 different persons. So what law creates an embargo here. They cannot simultaneously adopt. They can only jointly adopt. Now, another factor, child should be given in adoption and must be taken in adoption. Giving and taking. Or gift mari. Gift or a class there should be giving and taking. Similarly, adoption must be given and adoption must be taken. This adoption can be given or taken by be it by a parent or by a guardian having the authority of the child, and is being empowered by court. This act says in the Datta Homam Act Section 11. So what is the effect of adoption? I hope the timing is running out, but anyway, I will, if you do not feel otherwise, I will.
Sir, you can take your time.
Okay, I will take another 15 minutes.
Yes,
I'll try to
take your time.
Okay. Because we can complete the act. Another 4 more sections are to be seen. Effect of adoption. Section 12. What is the effect? Adoption effect? Or cause and effect. Adopted child shall be deemed to be the child of adoptive father. ஒரு குழந்தையை நாம தத்தெடுத்தோம்னா அது இந்த குடும்பத்துக்கு வந்திருக்கு. So any relationship with the previous that is severed and a new relationship is taken, provided and the preamble நம்ம பார்த்த மாதிரி already created right will be available. Suppose அந்த குழந்தைக்கு ஏற்கனவே ஒரு சொத்து ஒரு குடும்பத்திலிருந்து வந்திருக்குன்னா அடாப்ட் ஆனதுனால அது சொத்தையும் சேர்த்து எடுத்துக்கணும். அங்க கொடுத்தாங்க அடாப்ட் ஆனதுனால அந்த விட்டுட்டு போன்னு சொல்றதுக்கு இல்லை. Now, how adoption will take from the date of adoption. From the date of the ties of the original family is severed and replaced with the new family. ஏற்கனவே இங்க ஒரு குழந்தை இருக்கு, இவருக்கு இந்த குழந்தைக்கு ஏதாவது சொத்து வாங்கி வச்சிருக்காங்க, இல்லை it gets some right by some other means. இன்னொரு குழந்தை அடாப்ட் ஆகி வரும்போது the previous right which the child already accumulated, that is not severed. அதுதான் மெயின் திங். இதுல இன்னொரு இம்பாக்ட் இருக்கு. என்னன்னா, இந்த அடாப்ட் ஆன சைல்டு cannot marry certain relations of an adoptive parents. இது ஏன்னா இந்த சபிண்டா ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்ஸ் எல்லாம் உள்ள வந்துடும். சிஸ்டர், பிரதர், சிஸ்டர் இவங்களெல்லாம் உள்ள ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்ல வந்துடும். ஸோ he cannot marry. இது ஒரு கண்டிஷன், இது ஒரு ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் சொல்லலாம். தென் he takes all the rights of a natural whatever obligations என்ன இருக்கோ. அப்பா சப்போஸ் கடனோட இறந்து போயிட்டாருன்னா எஸ்டேட் இவனுக்கு வந்துன்னா he has to pay for that liability. So all these things, liabilities வந்து automatically he gets. எப்படி அசெட்ஸ் இந்த குழந்தைக்கு வருதோ அதே மாதிரி வாட் எவர் இம்பெடட் லைபிலிட்டி இருக்கிறதுனாலும் அதை இந்த குழந்தை ஏற்றுக்கிட்டாங்க. Now இன்னொரு சிச்சுவேஷன் நம்ம பார்க்கலாம். வாட் வில் ஹேப்பன், ஃபாதர் டேக்ஸ் தி சைல்ட் இன் அடாப்ஷன், அப்புறம் யாருக்கோ வில் எழுதிடுறாரு. வாட் வில் ஹேப்பன்? If suppose, what will happen in case of a condition made like this? See, the person who wants to give an adoption, that is biological parents, imposes a condition. Appa nee vandu irukra sothana nee vikka kudadu. You must not alienate. You must have to protect the children, child taking in adoption. Appadina, if there is any such agreement, then it has to be followed. Section 13, ரொம்ப interesting section. Section 13 says, how it starts nu pathina, right of adoptive parents to dispose of their properties. அதாவது ஒரு குழந்தை தத்தெடுத்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் அடாப்டிவ் பேரண்ட்ஸா மாறிடுறாங்க. இவங்க எப்படி விற்கலாம்? See, they have all the right as specified under section 30 of the Hindu Succession Act. இவர் பில் எழுதலாம். அடாப்டட் சைல்டு இருந்தா கூட அடாப்டட் சைல்டை விட்டுட்டு he can give it to the another person. That is, he is entitled for that. Now இந்த ஒரு செக்ஷனை நம்ம படிச்சு பார்த்தோம்னா, subject to any agreement, it says subject to any agreement to the contrary, an adoption does not deprive the adoptive father or mother of the power to dispose of his or her property by transfer, inter vivos or by will. So natural parents mariye the adoptive parents have the right. Just because of adoption, it does not prevent his right to dispose of a property by way of transfer by inter vivos. அதாவது section 5 of TP Act, transfer inter vivos. ஒருத்தர் ஒரு லிவிங் பீயிங் இன்னொரு லிவிங் பீயிங் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டியை விற்கலாம். அடாப்ட் ஆனதுனால ஃபாதரோட ரைட்டோ மதரோட ரைட்டோ கர்டைல் ஆகாது. He can execute a will. That is also permitted, subject to any agreement. If there is any agreement contrary to the contrary, எந்த விதமான கண்டிஷனும் இல்லைன்னா, then he can sell the property, he can buy the property or anything else he can do. Now section 14, almost two sections. Section 14, determination of adoptive mother in certain cases. ஒரு ஃபாதர் இருக்காங்க, ஒரு மதர் இருக்காங்க, குழந்தை இருக்கு, டிவிஷன் ஆயிடுது, கல்யாணம் ஆகுது, டிவிஷன் ஆயிடுது. Now the child is with the mother. கொஞ்ச நாளைக்கு அப்புறம் மதர் ரீமேரிஸ். Then because of the second marriage, the husband will be called a stepfather. In case the child is with the husband after dissolution of marriage or some separation, if the husband marries another woman, contract a second marriage after divorce of the first marriage, then the mother will become the stepmother. Generally, originally adopt ஆனவங்க வந்து they will be called an adoptive father and adoptive mother. If the child is adopted, then the mother is deemed to be the adoptive mother because father takes it. Now, if suppose adoption எடுத்தாச்சு அப்படின்னா, can an adoption be cancelled? It cannot be cancelled. It cannot be cancelled. Once edutha, it is a lifetime decision. The moment an adoption is made, all other rights follows, be it devolution, succession, marriage, all factors. So all other factors, that is, commences immediately on adoption. So you cannot cancel the adoption unless it is void. இல்ல இந்த அடாப்ஷன் டீடு தப்பு, பொய், நான் கையெழுத்தே போடல, நான் வாங்கவே இல்லை, அந்த மாதிரி சமயத்துல தான் that becomes invalid adoption. Else valid adoption cannot be cancelled. That is section 15. A valid adoption cannot be cancelled. யாரெல்லாம் கேன்சல் பண்ண முடியாது? Father cannot cancel it. Mother cannot cancel it. சரி, can the child who went in adoption, can he cancel? திடீர்னு ரெண்டு பேரும் அடாப்ட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க, இது தப்பு அப்படி, he also cannot cancel the adoption. Once he goes, வளர்ந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் ஐயோ அப்படின்னு பண்ண முடியுமா? He cannot cancel the adoption. So if the adoption is valid, then it cannot be cancelled. It means the child cannot renounce this family and return to the original family. எனக்கு வேண்டாம், நான் ஒரிஜினல் அப்பா அம்மா கிட்டே நான் போய்க்கிறேன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. So this is the condition in section 15. Now last two sections. Section 16. Presumption. Suppose if there is an adoption deed. Previously, before 1956, customary-ஆ எடுத்துக்கிட்டாங்க, giving an adoption, taking an adoption. Fine, there was no deed. If it is a deed, adoption deed, and if it has been registered, then the presumption is the deed is valid, the adoption is valid. The court shall presume, section 16 says, the court shall presume whenever any document registered under any law for the time being in force is produced before any court purporting to record an adoption made and signed by persons giving and person taking the adoption, the court shall presume that the adoption has been made in compliance with the provisions unless and until it is disproved. Until and unless it is disproved. See, in some of the case, I do not remember the case law. In one case, an adoption deed was prepared, an adoption deed was registered, but the natural biological parents have not signed the deed. All of them did it. The second generation have created a dispute into the management of the property. The adopted son says, adoptive son says, no, I am adopted into the family, I am also having a share. The deed does not contain the signature of the parents who has given an adoption. So, what will happen? The section says it should be signed, made and it is signed by the person giving and the person taking an adoption. In this criteria is fulfilled, then the court shall presume. If this criteria is not fulfilled, the court will not presume. If these criteria are fulfilled, then the court will presume that there is a valid adoption, and this can be broken only by disproving that adoption. You have to break that adoption. Unless and otherwise, then the adoption is considered to be valid, and this valid adoption cannot be cancelled under section 15. Why it says if the deed is registered, then the court should be extremely cautious because it involves property rights and other rights. Now, the other section is 17. For the purpose of our discussion, we are coming into the last section, section prohibition of certain payments. That is, adoption பணம் கொடுத்து வாங்குதல் கூட. That should not be any consideration for adoption. That is prohibited. Suppose if somebody has paid, in fact, in newspapers we can see, hospital பணம் கொடுத்து குழந்தை வாங்கி வந்துடுறாங்க. Nurses take the child, sell the child, abandon the child, or even detach from her mother. One another news article came yesterday saying that the mother was told that her child died, and they have sold the child. So section 17 prohibits such type of activities. No person shall receive or agree to receive any reward in consideration for adoption. There is a penalty of 6 months imprisonment, fine, and we have to take the sanction from the state government for prosecution. This is all with respect to the main ingredients of adoption. If we take the impact of adoption, what will happen in case of dependence claim? குழந்தையா இருக்காங்க, 5 வயசு 10 வயசு குழந்தையா இருக்கு, father does not maintain the child, then he can ask for maintenance. Section 27 says dependence. Son or daughter. So it will come into the adopted son or daughter will also fit into the definition. Suppose maintenance charge irundaduna, that can also be claimed. These are all supplementary factors which we have to see. Section 27 we can link it with this. Now I've almost completed it by taking extra 7 minutes. Anyway, thanks that you have been patient enough. Just I will sum up the purpose of the act in another 2 minutes. And that is, 1956 3 acts were brought into force. After 1955, Hindu Marriage Act came into force. Succession Act came in 1956, 6th month of 1956. Minority and Guardianship Act came into force in the 8th month. And Adoption and Maintenance Act came into force on December 1956. Purpose of the act enna appadina, it treats boy and girl equal. Anybody can be adopted. Customary form of adoption is prevented. Codified law came into force. Adoption can be made only as per certain terms. If adoption is not made as per section 5, then the entire adoption becomes void. If suppose after the Hindu father died, Hindu woman can, as a widow, can adopt. All these factors have been detailedly gone into, and Hindu alone can be adopted, given in adoption and taken in adoption. Hindu na yaru appadinu நம்ம பார்த்தோம் section 2 la. Hindu means the person who, that is the act applies only to Hindu. Hindu means the person who embraced Hinduism. It includes both legitimate and illegitimate child. Single father Hinduவா இருந்தாலும் apply ஆகும், both parents Hinduவா இருந்தாலும் apply ஆகும். Abandoned child, if it is brought up as a Hindu, then apply ஆகும். Converts to Hinduism apply ஆகும். Converts and reconverts apply ஆகும். These are all the things that we have seen. Now, child na yaruன்னு பார்த்தோம். That is offspring of a man as a child irrespective of age ன்னு நம்ம பார்த்தோம். Customs is a very important factor for to take in adoption, because 15 வயதுக்கு மேல் இருப்பவர்களை அடாப்ஷன் செய்ய முடியாது. அப்படி செஞ்சா வாய்டுங்கிறாங்க. ப்ரொவைடட் கஸ்டம் இருக்கணும். அந்த கஸ்டம் ப்ரூவ் பண்ணா தான் செக்ஷன் 10ல பண்ண முடியும். அகைன் ஒன் கஸ்டம், மேரீடு பர்சனை அடாப்ட் பண்ண முடியாது. அப்படி அடாப்ட் பண்ணணும்னா அந்த கஸ்டமை ப்ரூவ் பண்ணணும். ஸோ இந்த கஸ்டம்ஸ் அண்ட் யூசேஜ், அதாவது வழக்கங்கள், ரொம்ப காலத்து வழக்கங்களை ப்ரூவ் பண்ணணும். தென் கஸ்டம்ஸ்ங்கிறது அந்த ஃபேமிலிக்கு கூட இருக்கணும். அந்த ஃபேமிலியில நாங்க அப்படிதான் பண்றோம்ங்கிறதையும் சொல்லலாம். அப்படி பண்ணலைன்னா செக்ஷன் 5ல வந்து என்ன சொல்றாங்க, adoption is regulated by this chapterங்கிறாங்க. If it is not, then it becomes void. So எல்லாமே it will go back. Then நம்ம என்ன பார்த்தோம், valid adoption என்னன்னு பார்த்தோம். அந்த valid adoptionக்குள்ள 3 நாள் வருது. That is person giving an adoption, taking an adoption, giving an adoption, person who can be adopted, and conditions நம்ம பார்த்தோம். அதுல தான் என்ன பார்த்தோம், taking in adoption, male or female can take in adoption, male or female can give in adoption. Guardian can take in adoption. Guardian can give in adoption, section 9. Then conditions number பார்த்தோம். That is the conditions like age, இதெல்லாம் நம்ம பார்த்தோம். Next is இன்னொன்று another conditions என்னன்னா like ஏற்கனவே the father, the parents must not have a son if he wants to take a son, must not have a daughter if you want to take a daughter, and age gap between the two must be 21 years. A person already taken an adoption cannot be given an adoption. All these factors that we have seen it as a condition. Now, the effect of adoption in our path, that is adoption, he comes to the biological parents, to the adoptive parents, he takes all the right of an adoptive parents, succession, marriage, relationship, எல்லாமே இவங்க adoptive parents ஓட லைனுக்குள்ள இவர் வந்துருவாங்க. And disposition of property, அதாவது ஏற்கனவே இருந்த ரைட்ஸ் அப்படியே கட்டையிலாகும். This right, this section 13 will not prevent the adoptive parents order rights. That is independent right, it will not curtail. They can differ with the adopted son and execute a will in favor of somebody. They can sell the property if they have absolute right. Okay. So then determination of parents. அதாவது ஒரு குழந்தைக்கு கல்யாணம் ஆன ரெண்டு பேர் பிரிஞ்சாங்கன்னா இன்னொரு குழந்தைய அடாப்ட் பண்ணாங்கன்னா அவங்க அடாப்டிவ் ஃபாதர், அடாப்டிவ் ஹஸ்பண்ட், அடாப்டிவ் ஒய்ஃபா மாறிடுறாங்க. These are all the factors that we saw. And ஒரு தடவை வேலிட் அடாப்ஷன் அப்படிங்கிறது ஒன்று ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா it cannot be cancelled. That cannot be cancelled or revoked either by adopted parents or even by the child who has been taken an adoption. And another is presumption. That is, if it is been by a deed, if it is signed by the parties who has given an adoption, taken an adoption, and is being registered, then this registered instrument, the court shall presume it is a valid adoption. Qualifying is unless it is disproved. Facts la disprove ஆகணும். Forgery, fabrication, undue influence, coerce பண்ணி, we have seen in the political scenario, coerce பண்ணி or by some means இது பண்றது. This can always be challenged before court of law, saying that it is not a valid adoption. And then there cannot be a reward for adoption. That is, no monetary compensation for adoption cannot be given, and that will attract penal consequences. So this is all what we have seen in adoption. The next session we will go into in-country adoption, inter-country adoption. In the session நம்ம பார்த்தது வந்து mainly we saw adoption with respect to the personal law, that is the Hindus. So far as Hindus, what is the position with respect to other situations like Kara guidelines, abandoned children, surrendered children? Either we will take in the subsequent session.